Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The cab slowed in front of the familiar white brick house. I was still smiling from the adrenaline of my first successful business trip. 3 days of presentations, networking, and finally securing 2 major clients in network marketing. I imagined walking through the front door to tell Dad everything. Instead, my eyes locked on the scene at the gate. Black garbage bags, at least a dozen, were lined in a neat row, swollen and sagging like silent tombstones. My clothes peeked from one, a corner of my old coat from another. In the driveway stood my father, Harry, arms folded like a guard. Beside him, my brother Marcus and my sister Lydia wore matching looks of cold resolve. The smile on my face evaporated. "What is this?" My voice cracked despite me. Harry didn't blink. "You're 26 now, Angel. It's time you stood on your own." I glanced at the bags, my chest tightening, stood on my own. "I've been paying rent here for years, covering groceries, driving you to appointments." Marcus cut me off. "This isn't personal. Dad's selling the house. We got an offer above market value." My stomach sank. "And you decided while I was away." Lydia's eyes flickered with something between guilt and defiance. "We didn't want a scene, and yes, your share will be reduced. You've lived here long enough." The sting was sharp and deliberate. I saw it now, the plan, the timing, the way they'd waited until I couldn't defend myself. I looked at Harry. "After Mom died, I thought at least you'd have my back." His jaw tightened. "This is for the best." I bent, grabbed my one suitcase from the grass, and straightened. My voice was calm, but it burned in my throat. "I hope the money's worth it." No one moved as I walked away, leaving my life in black plastic behind me. The taxi smelled faintly of gasoline and old leather, but to me, it was sanctuary. I gave the driver my old college friend Marlene's address, though I hadn't spoken to her in months. The house I'd just left, my house, was now enemy territory. The driver kept glancing in the mirror at the pile of clothes bursting from my suitcase. "Moving out?" he asked casually. I stared out the window, something like that. My phone buzzed, messages from Lydia, short and sharp. "Don't drag this out. You knew it couldn't last forever." Another from Marcus. "Stop playing the victim." My fingers hovered over the screen before I locked it. They'd already written my role in the family play. I was the black sheep, the troublemaker, the one who never fell in line. And now they'd made it official. Marlene opened her door in pajama pants and wide eyes. "Angel?" "What?" "Oh my God, come in." I sank into her couch, the cushions swallowing me whole. They kicked me out while I was gone, everything in garbage bags. Her face darkened. "Your family?" "They said I'm old enough to stand on my own, but I've been the one keeping things afloat for years. Rent, bills, even Dad's medical." She poured tea into mismatched mugs. "Sounds like they've been planning this." I nodded, wrapping my hands around the heat. "They have. And they'll regret it." The words came out before I'd thought them through, but even as I spoke, the resolve felt solid. They had pushed me out expecting I'd stumble. What they didn't expect was that I'd land on my feet. I pulled out my laptop from my suitcase. My savings were limited, but my client contacts were growing. If they wanted me gone, fine. I'd build something so untouchable that they'd choke on their regret. Marlene and I asked her neighbor with a pickup truck to go and pick up the trash bags with my belongings from my father's house. We drove up to the house. No one even came out. We picked up the things and drove them to Marlene's. And for the first time that day, I smiled, not from joy, but from the quiet thrill of knowing the black sheep had just found her way out of the pen. By the second week at Marlene's, the ache in my chest had hardened into something sharper: purpose. I stopped scrolling through my family's silent group chat and started sending out emails to every professional contact I had. My first win came on a rainy Tuesday, a contract worth more than my last 3 months' work combined. I worked from Marlene's dining table, blueprinting a future they'd never be allowed to touch. One night, Marlene leaned on the doorway, watching me tap furiously at the keys. "You're working like someone's chasing you." I didn't look up. "They are. They just don't know I'm faster." I began calling suppliers, negotiating deals, securing services they'd once told me were too ambitious. I poured everything into my new venture, long nights, every dollar I could scrape together, every favor I'd ever been owed. My phone lit up again. Lydia this time. You've been quiet. Planning something. I replied with a single word, always. The silence after that was almost satisfying. By the third week, I'd signed a lease for a modest office space. The realtor hesitated when I asked for a 1-year contract up front. You sure about this? That's a lot of commitment. I'm sure, I said, and I'm paying in cash. When I wired the deposit, I felt the first real taste of freedom. I wasn't just surviving outside the gate they'd thrown me from. I was building my own fortress, one they'd have no key to. Marlene came with me to see the place. Bare walls, dusty floors, the faint smell of paint, perfect. Looks like nothing now, she said. I grinned. Exactly, it's mine. And as I stood in that empty room, the thought bloomed clear and dangerous. They had built their lives on the belief I'd always need them. Now I was building mine on the proof that I never did. It started with a whisper in the industry forums. Harry Harrison's company had missed a major shipment. By morning, the whispers had teeth. Clients were pulling out, suppliers demanding payment up front. I sat at my desk in the half-furnished office, scrolling through the headlines. Harrison Enterprises faces financial scrutiny. A part of me wanted to feel pity. That part was small and very, very quiet. By noon, my phone rang. Marlene didn't bother with hello. You've seen it? Every word, I said, sipping my coffee. A week earlier, Harry had cornered me in front of the old house, his voice slick with mockery. No one survives without the family. Not you, not anyone. Now I imagined his face reading the market reports. Contracts collapsing, reputation eroding by the hour. Around 3, I received an email from a mutual contact. He's calling everyone. No one's answering. I forwarded it to Marlene. She replied with a single sentence. Tables turn fast when you're not holding the legs. That evening Harry called me. I let it ring out. Then he texted, need to talk. Urgent. I typed back slowly. Sorry. Busy building my life without your permission. The read receipt popped up. No reply. By the end of the week, his company had been suspended from 2 major industry boards. Rumor was he'd mortgaged the family house to cover debts. Marlene and I went for a walk that Friday night. She glanced at me sideways. You going to step in? I shook my head. They threw me out. I'm just watching from the gate. Truth was, I wasn't just watching. I was taking notes. Every misstep, every arrogant move that led to this moment was a lesson in how to win without them. The summons arrived in a thick cream envelope, formal, heavy, and smelling faintly of mothballs. The family estate needed my presence, not for reconciliation, of course, but for urgent property matters. When I pulled up the gravel drive, the windows gaped like blind eyes. The lawn was ragged, the once perfect hedges curling into chaos. Inside, the air was stale, and the voices in the drawing room stopped as I entered. Harry sat slumped, his tie askew. Marcus sat on the sofa and drank whiskey. Lydia leaned against the mantel, arms folded. You came, Harry muttered. I was curious, I said, setting my bag down. Curious what ruins look like up close. An older man, probably the lawyer, cleared his throat. The house will be sold, with 80% of the proceeds going toward paying off Harrison Enterprises' debts, and the remaining money being divided among the heirs. Harry shot me a look. We could work something out. Keep it in the family. I almost laughed. The family threw me out, remember? This. I gestured to the peeling wallpaper, the silent rooms. Isn't my home anymore. I signed the paperwork, slid the pen back across the table, and walked out without looking back. The evening air was cool, the sky streaked gold. I didn't feel triumphant, just free. Some homes you leave, others you burn behind you. And this one, it could turn to ash without me.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.